Yes, people, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today's video is going to be very specific towards the industry and sales itself, appointment setting itself, SDR positions itself. Today we're going to run over pretty much 2 or 3 mindset things that really set you apart and allow you to break through those ceilings that you may face when you're within a role. These are the same principles I implemented when I was appointment setting myself and allowed me to be the top performer in my company month over month for many months on end. And it's also helped, when I've managed certain teams, it's helped me take certain sales teams from even the likes of 50, 60K a month to 120K a month in 30 days. And it's very simple stuff. So with that said, if you're currently in an appointment setter yourself, you're in a real world sales position, or frankly, you're just looking to get better at the sales or get into sales, these couple tricks here are really going to help you out, specifically some of them if you are in a remote role. So if you currently find yourself sort of at a ceiling, right? I remember when I was appointment setting, this kind of actually ties into my previous video, one of the points. But if you're at a certain ceiling, technically when you're on sales and you're really good and you're in a company with a lot of top performers, you're all more or less technically sort of at the same level. So then it's other little factors that are going to set you apart and allow you to break through certain ceilings. Even in teams like the one team I managed and we took from about 50, 60K a month to 125, I can't remember the exact number, within the span of 1 month, it's certain things. Like technically the guys I was managing were quite sound when it came to sales, but they lacked so much in other areas, which led to sort of them not performing very well. So what are the couple things we're going to walk through today? Schedule. Number 1 is definitely schedule. Schedule. Number 2 is what you do outside of working. Number 3 will be detachment from the outcome. And then number 4 would be sort of vigorous intention when you are working. So number 1, schedule. Why is schedule so important? You'll see a lot of sales reps, specifically if they are remote and have a more flexible schedule and can work whenever they like. The problem is they fuck around all day. One day they'll start working at 7 a.m. One day they'll start working at 12 p.m. One day they'll start working in the morning. One day they do this, they do that. What I find a lot of guys who underperform do is they plan their lifestyle around work. They plan work around their lifestyle, not their lifestyle around work. The one thing that will allow appointment setters specifically to be top performers and actually see great results, first off when it comes to schedule, is having a consistent schedule. Every single day, they start more or less within an hour gap at the same time, whether it's 9 the one morning or 10 the next. Every single morning they start, well, it depends on the offer you work, right? But let's just say every single day you start at the exact same time. Massively important. Then when it comes to the end of the day, that can vary. Some days you may want to work more, you may want to work less. I would recommend having a balance, and this will tie into vigorous intention later in the video. But you need to make sure you're starting every day at the same time and honestly finishing more or less the same time, dependent on what day it is of the month and if you want to put a bit extra in, whatever the case may be. Why? Very simple. Consistent schedule leads to what? Consistent results. It's fundamentally the same. This is one of the basic switches I made in the sales team that I managed, which helped them perform more. It's just starting at one time, building their lifestyle around a work schedule, and finishing at a certain time. Because why? Most appointment setters or sales reps will find them working 14 hours, but you're not. You're not working 14 hours a day. You're fucking around for 7, you're eating lunch for 2, you're resting for 1, and you're working 4. That's most sales reps in a nutshell. So a lot of guys will watch this and they'll be like, oh no, you need to work 12 hours. Anyone who's telling you work as hard as you can is lying to you, because there's a big difference between sitting 14 hours in front of your desk and thinking you're working hard, as opposed to sitting and actually working deep and focused and with intent for 6 to 8 hours every single day. So that will, we'll walk through that later in the video. But consistent schedule, consistent results. This was honestly top 3 biggest needle movers for me. The day I started working at the same time, finishing at the same time, my results just went like this, and it allowed me to outperform all the other reps in my team because most of them were scheduling lifestyle around work, not work around lifestyle. Then number 2, I won't sort of dive into this one too in depth because my prior video was completely around this topic and why it is beneficial. But number 2 is just detaching yourself from the outcome. Specifically when I was managing sales teams and you'd speak to the setters on the setting team meets, and also when you were doing appointment setting yourself, you're so attached to the outcome of the calls you booked. In your own head, you start making theoretical scenarios of this guy's super warm, this guy's going to close. You already think the close is going to convert. You have to remember, ultimately, you can do a lot in the DM conversation, but there is always that slight dependency on the outcome for the closer. You can't close your own deals unless you're DM closing some sort of package. So completely detach yourself from the outcome. Once you stop caring about what the outcome is every single day, all you focus on is the input, your results will skyrocket. It's fundamental. Once I taught this to the setting team, I didn't say them that same advice that I did in the last video where I said, stop giving a fuck about your job. But pretty much once they stopped giving a fuck about what happens and they just cared about what statistically made sense for them to get them to where they want to be and focused on the inputs to do that, game changer, instantly. Sweet. So point number 3, what you do outside of work. So this doesn't really matter too much unless you're completely fucking off your day outside of work. So one thing I really, really put a lot of intent on with the guys I work with, every company I've worked in, or managed or whatever, we would have a better, or even my own company, right? We have a better everyday channel. So what is absolutely crucial as an appointment setter if you want to see results, a sales rep if you want to see results, you need to be doing things outside of work which take your mind off work. Whatever that may be for you. And then you also need to do things that physically improve you every single day, more specifically fitness-wise and relationship-wise. Whether that be going to the gym, whether that be you like running, whether that be you like playing sport, maybe you have a sport you play regularly, maybe you play social football or rugby a couple times a week. You need to be active. You need to be fit. Strong body is strong mind. What do you need to be a good sales rep? A bloody fucking strong mind. So the number one thing, which I remember also working, at my prior company that set us apart, is every single day, every single team member, we were about 10 guys, was in the Better Everyday channel, posting a gym photo, posting a workout, posting our meals, posting multiple times in there, posting our runs. This is next level. If you can curate a team that is able to perform inside and outside of work, keep their body strong outside of work and keep their mind strong for when they work, it's a game changer. It's the most subtle thing, but also for me. I used to be that guy who sat 14 hours in front of the screen thinking I was working hard, wondering why I wasn't seeing results. It's because you're dead up here. When all you're doing is sitting, you're eating like shit. You're not exercising. You're not focusing on yourself and your mental well-being. You're not going to perform in the job either because you're not there. So I would personally recommend, doing gym. I love gym. Gym is really great. It's going to, get the oxygen flowing. You're going to build a great physique. It's going to build a strong body. Strong body is confidence. Confidence helps in sales. Confidence is a fundamental thing of sales. And then I'd also recommend doing something social at least once a week. Seeing some friends, seeing your girlfriend, go seeing your family, whatever the case may be. Make sure you're also socially there. Make sure you're happy. That's super crucial. So with, a lot of these reps I would come into a company and start managing. I remember this one guy who was just completely fucked up. And I tried to help him, but eventually he didn't want to help himself. We had to get rid of him. But most of these guys were fucked up. They just sit in the dark all day and do sales. It's never going to get you results. It's never going to allow you to improve. You need to be physically there. You need to be working on yourself consistently and building a strong body and a strong mind, because that's ultimately what's going to also move the needle forward when the technical level is capped. Then lastly, and number 4, that would be vigorous input when you're working. So, like I was saying at the start of the video, this point doesn't have to be too long. However, if you are one of those guys that is sitting there the whole day thinking you're working hard, you're going to get lapped by the guy who works even 6 hours a day, but works those full 6 hours flat out with vigorous intention, with a schedule, knowing exactly what he wants to do, prioritizing the highest leverage tasks that will convert for a specific type of sales position. You'll get lapped. And this is one of the things I implemented with the team I managed. All these guys were working 12-hour days. They didn't have any schedule. They didn't know when they were going to work. They had no beginning of day report. That's one thing, I told them, we're going to do a beginning of day report. You're going to list out your day. You're going to make sure you're doing something active within that time period, and you're going to have your hours listed for when you are going to work so I can hold you accountable to those hours. I don't expect you to work 12. You can work 6 to 8 hours a day, but those 6 to 8 hours you work, you're fucking working and you're working your ass off with vigorous intention and focusing on the highest leverage tasks. Most appointment setters who lack progression and they feel like they're capped at a certain point and they don't know what they're doing wrong, this is one of them. They're working all these hours. They're doing all miscellaneous stuff whilst they're working. They don't have a fixed schedule. They don't know when they're going to start, when they're going to finish. They don't know what tasks to prioritize. They're doing every day mindlessly the same thing, thinking they're working hard, thinking they have structure, thinking they're doing well, when ultimately they're going to get lapped by the guy who has structure, the guy who has a good life outside of work, the guy who has a consistent schedule, and the guy who consistently puts vigorous intention on the inputs he does every single day. If you can do those 4 things, there are other things which I also teach within my community Setter Syndicate and program, if you will. But those 4 things are really going to be massive needle movers with you, obviously once you've got into a very high technical level already. I hope that was helpful. I hope you have a blessed day. If you found the video helpful, please drop my channel a subscription, like the video, comment if you want. Let me know if you want to see any different type of content. With that said, if you are looking to learn more about appointment setting, get into the online world, build a remote income and start working towards those bigger online business models, make sure to check out my website below, learn a bit more about appointment setting, and I potentially look forward to speaking with you in the future. Have an amazing day.